what's happening? It's Xavier Muriel from Buckcherry. If you're not in the now, you're in nothing.
Hello in the now, family and friends. Sitting here with Xavier Muriel of Buckcherry.
What's happening?
What's happening? Just rocking out another interview. So tell us about the tour. How's it going so far?
The tour is amazing. We've been out since April of last year. We're creeping up on about 200 shows. The record Confessions didn't drop until February of this year. So we got a little head start on some touring, but it's been great so far. We've done, you know, we've already been to Australia once, we've been to Japan twice, and all over the States, man. If there's electricity and even a small stage, we're there.
That sounds good. Yeah, I noticed you guys started off in the States for a bit, then like you said, went to Japan, Australia, and then came back for the States for a little bit as you are here. And then you're moving on, looks like, to Europe in the latter end of the year, so it's non-stop.
Non-stop. I think we're, you know, I've heard so many people say that we were like the hardest working band in rock and roll, and I don't know if that's the truth or not, but I do know that we're probably the heaviest touring band besides, you know, some of the heavyweights out there, like obviously some of those guys band to that nature, but you know, that's what we do. You know, we're not the kind of band that likes to sit around for too long. Take it, make some music, create some art, get out there and put it to the people and see what they think about it. You know? So
that's good. That's awesome to hear. You guys definitely are one of the hardest working, if not the hardest working band. I'll second that gladly. So what has been your high point? What has been the top achievement so far? You've been touring for years. You've been out on the road for a good bit.
I mean, we've been consistently touring on when 15 dropped since August of '05.
Right.
I think the only major time that we've ever had off was probably a 2-week period within a year. And it's mostly due to the fact that we're just constantly touring. You know, whether we're working in the States as far as doing club and theater tours or radio festivals, which is what we do every summer, or whether we're out of the country. You know, it could be Japan, it could be South America, it could be Qatar, and all over Europe. So that's kind of what we do. You know, we have to put product out there. You know, in this business nowadays, to make money, you really got to get out there and tour. That's kind of what we do. We've been so accustomed to it since '05 that it's kind of hard for us not to. You know, the momentum of this train has been so fast and so furious for so long that I think that when it slows down to a certain point, we kind of start getting antsy. We go like into like, you know, what's that called? Separation anxiety from each other. We don't see each other for more than like a week, and we're like, hey bro, what's going on? What are you doing? Let's get some coffee, you know, whatever. So it's
sharing such a confined space, such as like say a tour bus, to wanting that freedom, but you, like you said, it's ironic. You find yourselves seeking each other out. 12 dudes on a bus for 11 months is a long, long time. You know, and when you get done with that, I'm so accustomed to, just like pretty much everybody else in the band, waking up and seeing those familiar faces every day, that when you break from them, yes, it's relief, it feels great. But then a little bit of time goes by and you kind of miss that thing because you've grown so used to it. You know, I mean, I'm sure there are other bands that are out there that's like, I don't want to see that guy for 6 months, and you know, that works for them. But for most of us, all of us actually, we're all still really good friends. I mean, we call each other when we don't see each other. Hey man, how are you? What's up? How you doing? No band related. It's just like, how are you as a human? What's happening? You know, that's good.
It's good. You know, it kind of keeps the element of not only being business associates, but also just being friends.
That's excellent to hear. Some bands, they said, you know, we are associates, we do the thing on stage, and after that,
I mean, and I think when most people see our show, they see us cutting up and laughing and having a good time, and oh my God, what was that you just played? Laughing about it, or you know, things of that nature. I mean, people go, wow, you guys look like we genuinely are. I mean, I think we're too old. You know, we're too old to fake it and call it in, and we're phoning it, as we say. You know, so we actually enjoy our time on stage as much as we do off stage. You have to. If you're going to be out here for 11 months, you better really dig it, because if not, nothing else, you know, will do.
That translates to the fans, obviously, so that's a good thing. Well, obviously, you're out on the road this year, and Confessions, as you said, just dropped in February of this year, so it's been about a few years since All Night Long, you know, since we've had that and hit subsequent touring. How's it going with Confessions now, you know, with the crowds when you guys play songs like Gluttony, you know, lead single off that, or the other tracks. How's that being received from your point of view?
From my point of view, I think it's being received very well. I mean, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of fans who were around in 15 and have kind of grown the list of years, and I think there's a lot of them that are always wanting to hear 15 redone, or always wanting to hear Black Butterfly redone, because it's their perfect record. But for the most part, the reception has been incredible. I mean, even to some of the songs that aren't singles that we play that people know. And then of course you have your people who are just they want to hear the same thing over and over. Of course. And I think that was almost 9 years ago. So people that were a certain age back then are now almost 10 years older. So things change. I mean, even with daily likes and dislikes. For the most part, I'd say the percentage of the people that have got it.
Oh, that's good.
That really kind of go, man, you've captured something in this record that it's a little angrier, it's a little edgier, it's not as tongue-in-cheek, if you will, and that's simply because Josh, came up with the idea of some of the titles to these songs, and then Keith and the rest of us, molded the material around those titles, and then morphed into the whole Seven Deadly Sins, and then a small short story, a short film, and it kind of drove us to do things that we'd never done, to approach music the way we never had, without a record label telling you what to do, or a management company telling you what you do, because everybody wants to have a hit song. Well, that's a difficult thing to do,
right?
Period. Much less trying to take 5 unique individuals and think 5 different ways and create the perfect pop song or whatever song. And we basically just went, this is what we feel inside, and we're going to write it, and we're going to record it, and we're going to put it out that way.
That's excellent. See, and that's the refreshing thing. I've seen previous interviews and heard you all even quoted magazines saying a lot of this stuff Buckcherry has done has come out of their own pocket, out a lot of their own effort, collectively, as you said. It's not like you're sitting here for a label to say this is our cookie cutter trademark sound. Now, My Confessions is really edgy, like you said. The Seven Deadly Sins, mixed in there. Gluttony just leading off the track. I mean, it's just awesome. So it's a really well-received album. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you that. You got Billboard charts that validate this. But Confessions really hit the ground running, we should say. So did you find that there was material perhaps even like the book record concession or Confessions by artists, or any things that will lead into a subsequent album? Maybe not so much immediately, but in the near term.
We're the kind of band, we never ride on the road. Most bands carry a Pro Tools rig and they do stuff on the road, they record this idea. We are, as we are on stage, we are when we write material. We go into a room and we just jam. We don't come up, Keith and the writers, Stevie and Jimmy, don't ever come up with material that we take into a room on the road, because we kind of do what we do out here, and then when we get into the room, it's fresh and it's exciting. We get to lead off of each other, like, hey, that was cool, what did you do? Now, a lot of times that's a longer of a process, but it makes it more, it just has a lot more flavor to it, a lot more depth to it, because it's something that everybody's a part of, as opposed to 2 guys or 3 guys or whatever going, here, learn this and play, which is not really a band. And that's kind of the way we do it. Most of the material that we have left over, we just kind of catalog. Okay. Some of it gets picked up and used for, for movie soundtracks. Some other songs just sit dormant. And then some of the songs that'll pop up, like an idea for Confessions was just a riff, probably back at the end of 15 and 11. Wow. So there's always that kind of stuff that the guys do. But there's always, a bit of material that's left over, that we can pick from. But most of the times, it's kind of hard to pick that material, because that record is really about that time and that headspace that we were in. So to try to carry those tunes over to the next headspace usually doesn't work in our experience. But there's always stuff that's on.
That's awesome. Yeah, it makes sense. Like you said, it's like a time capsule.
Yeah,
to a certain degree,
very much is.
But it does inspire for other parts for the future. How is it working with speaking of labels, Century Media? Phenomenal.
It's been great. Century's been great. Our new management company, 5B Century, has just been phenomenal. So
awesome.
everything with those 2 areas has been great. everybody at the record label and the management company has just been a joy to work with, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's tough enough and it's difficult enough out here to do what we do, much less have to battle the machine within.
Of course, the bookkeeping side, you want trust is moving while you're doing your thing. No, that totally makes sense. So, the tour, as you described, is very busy. Overseas, now going back overseas again. How do you find any time, or do any of y'all have time to detune, defuse, It makes people wonder, Fans sometimes wonder, what y'all do in your downtime, if there is quote-unquote downtime.
There usually is. Usually we're the type of band that will do anywhere between 3 shows in a row and 1 off. Okay. 2 on, 1 off, and that's mainly because Josh does not want to blow his voice. There's guys out there that can do 5, 6 shows in a row. That's awesome. It works for them, it doesn't work for us. Because of the fact that we kind of pace ourselves. We're older, we're smarter. If we can last out here 10, 11 months, it's awesome. We're working, we're making a living, we're providing for our families. But most of us have our own little things. Josh is very incarnate. He's really, really into that. Jimmy's way into yachting. He spends most of his time researching yachts, boats. Stevie's an awesome photographer, very avid. So he seeks out.
Take some notes. Yeah, I might take them out later.
He seeks out places that you would never expect to, or he would pick out things from places you would never expect to see. And that's what a good photographer does. Whereas Keith is into a lot of different things. Keith is the concert guitar player and writer. He loves to just play his rig. He's very into vintage guitars and amps. So that takes a lot of his time. I'm into Harleys. So anytime that I can get back home and either wrench or help a buddy work on a bike or even ride on it, that's my therapy. That's what I do. But most of the times on days off, we kind of stick to ourselves and regroup and regather. And it's our way of kind of just recharging our mind and our body to get ready for the next 3 in a row or 2 in a row.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. When you look at a tour itinerary, it's funny because I tell people this all the time. They're like, well, your life has got to be this and you got to be that. When you look at a tour itinerary, it starts in January. It doesn't end until December. You got to realize that's a long time. And it may not seem that long for a lot of people because they sit in the same cubicle every day. They get to go home to their same bed every night. They get to drive their same car. They go to the refrigerator and there's food in it. Where us, everything, the simple things. Everything for us changes. The only thing that doesn't change is our joy. We're going to be touring. We're going to be on a bus. And we're all grateful and very blessed to have it. But, it takes a certain mindset to do that. And you have to be very, very mindful of that. You have to know what you can and can't do. Right. In order to tour for 11 months solid, you have to know that. We've been really good at getting that down. As far as oiling our Swiss watch. So,
Hence the hardest working band. That's where it comes from. So you guys are definitely.
I like to think that we have been up against every obstacle of the bands. I should say we played in every type of situation. Massive downpours or snowstorms.
Tornadoes even, right?
Tornadoes, Waterloo, Iowa. We've had some problems in Valentine, Nebraska with a sandstorm. We've had lightning. You name it. We played in every element that is known to man. And we've had situations where other bands have pulled out in festivals and we refused to do it and went out there in a torrential downpour and gave the fans what they wanted.
Wow, fans
I would be pissed if one of my favorite bands went out there and, it's raining, we can't play. What? No. I've been out here for 5 hours in a poncho. You can play some rock.
There you go. That's well said. So we're talking about the time, that you may have in the tour or on the tour per se. Say when the tour is completed after December, what's the outlook in 2014? Do you have some downtime programs, or are you
sleep?
Yes. All of 2014 is sleep. Yeah.
No, I know this. I know we will continue to tour on this record until the powers that be say no, or we decide as a band that the cycle is done. And we'll get off the road, we'll go back, we'll rest a bit, and that little anxious part of us will kick in. And the band will get together, we'll start jamming. We never have have said, okay, we're going to take 2 weeks off and we're going to go right back in. We take the time off that we need, which is usually anywhere between 3 weeks to a week.
Okay.
And we never go, we're going to have a record out by March or April. We never go. So we rest until it's time to get back to work. We go back into a room, we start writing material. Josh comes down, listens to some of the material, he records it, takes it home, writes some lyrics, he comes back, work on it. If it doesn't gel, we move it to the side, we work on another one, and that's how you accumulate, you know, a body of work that's 20 to 30 songs.
So it's still like working even after you're done.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
And even when we're home, we go in at 10 in the morning, and we're done by 6 o'clock at night, and we have the weekends off, so you guys can have their family time with your kids and whatnot, their wives. But I mean, it's a job. It's a cool job. Even being out here, it's a job. It's a cool job, but it's still a job, and we still have to deal with all the idiosyncrasies of human interaction and all the things that happen. You know, so I think the bottom line would be we will keep doing it until the fans stop buying records altogether and stop paying money for tickets to MCs.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I hope not.
Yeah,
I really
think we're on a good track.
I really hope not. And you know, if it wasn't for all the people who do that, we wouldn't be here. We'd all be still working day jobs and going, wow, I wish if we wrote that song, maybe, you know, so they're responsible. We just do what we do naturally, and it's, you know, it's up to them to decide whether or not we come back out.
Okay. Just makes sense. You know, here's a random question you might have probably gotten before. What originally made you pick up the sticks? You know, I know you had your start probably where most drummers do, you know, playing the guitar.
Playing the guitar,
and then
absolutely.
Transferring, you know, got to
Isn't that funny?
It's
all drummers used to be guitar players, and all singers used to be drummers.
Yeah, I guess.
All of the great ones, Don Henley, Steven Tyler.
It's true.
You know,
you're talking about Dave Grohl, Swap.
Dave, absolutely. You know, I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
I started out on guitar like everybody else. I was horrible. I just realized that I really sucked.
Well, or, you know, until you try something else, the drums.
Absolutely.
Maybe
And so. it was my mom doing actually because she had a snare drum in the garage that we had moved from house to house since I can remember. And she was actually a drummer in drumline in the 40s.
Oh wow!
You know, in high school. So I remember pulling it out one day and just kind of banging on it. Oh, this is fun and blah 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 blah. And then I remember my first concert was a Kiss concert. And it was with Eric Carr. Oh, it was the Creatures of the Night Tour. God bless his soul.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him, and I was just like, something happened. The seed was planted, and I didn't really do anything for a while. Went through, you know, middle school and junior high, and then right after junior high, I saw, or high school, I saw the Looks and Kill Me.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
And I saw that hair spinning, and I was just like, oh my God, it was that, you know. But and that pretty much changed my life. So my mom was always really helpful and backing as far as the drums were concerned. She hated the noise as well as my father did. But and that was it, man. I remember I was the kid who I wanted to run before I learned how to crawl. So I only took 2 lessons, and I learned everything else on my own by sheer accident.
Wow.
Everything I learned in that era or in those beginning years was done by sheer accident.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But at the same sense, when I have clinics and I talk to other aspiring drummers, I'm like, learn your rudiments. Learn your rudiments, and I'm like, I don't even know.
Read the music.
But don't do that. Yeah, exactly. It's so much easier that way. But yeah, I mean, guitar was, and it's funny now because now I love guitar. I have 2 at the house.
It's come full circle.
Yeah, and I've learned how to really kind of play and do my thing. And it's interesting. I don't have aspirations of being a front guy.
Right.
Per se. But I would love to be like a really guitar player. I'd love to be like a Malcolm Young. And just stood there and just played killer rock and roll. So,
it's good. No, it's true. It's always a unique story how someone picks up the sticks. You know. Speaking of which, are you playing with Vater still?
I am.
Yeah,
I endorse Vater.
Yeah.
I endorse Xavier Muriel of drums and
It's good stuff.
I'm really fortunate and blessed to have those guys believe in me for as long as they have, because you know, if you think that the rock and roll world is tough, you should try to endorse me.
I love that.
You know, and that will break a musician's spirits quicker than anything, because it's so expensive. I mean, I thought it was expensive when I was a kid. and it was. But now I look at some of the stuff and I'm just like, God, what parent really did that? Well, sure, I'm going to buy you a $800 drum kit so that you can forget about it in 2 weeks. What?
Exactly.
No way.
Well, it's also for the consistency of sound, so that quality that is unique to each.
And it's I've been with them since I started in Buckcherry, which was my first major league. And I went to companies that I believed in the product. It wasn't because they gave me free stuff and they don't pay me. I can say that for real because they don't.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we're not affiliated either.
But I mean, it's a great thing to know that there's a couple of companies that believe in me enough to support me with their product because I support them with their product, but yet allowed me to keep playing professionally for almost a decade.
That is awesome.
It's completely awesome. And I think for me personally, growing up, it wasn't about the stage and the lights and the smoke. It was all about having the best gear and a bus. That's all. That's all.
And the bus. That was
the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No, it was all about like I just wanted to be on a bus. Because you saw those videos,
It's so true.
Journeys Faithfully.
Oh yeah.
Home. And
those are all.
All those videos show the bus like a big convoy. Man, that's the coolest thing ever.
That's an awesome
One of these
answer.
days, and then you flip through Modern Drummer magazine and there's all those ads with the drummers and you're looking at them like, God, one of these days.
But now years later, being on that bus, it's probably a different point of view.
I'm like, wow, you should really be careful what you wish for.
You just might get it.
You just might get it.
That's so true. Well, Xavier, we're not going to take too much of your time here. Appreciate you hanging out with us within the now. Just one last question. If I would ask you, what was the last song you heard, before your sound check, or even just rolling into town here, or getting off the plane, whatever, what have you? What was the last song you heard? On your MP3 player, iPod, what have you?
PYT by Michael Jackson.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, as well as all of that early funk and some say disco stuff. I mean, I loved all that Parliament, Function, Ohio Players, Earth, Wind & Fire, Michael Jackson, James. I mean, all of that's Prince. All that stuff was so amazing because it was real musicians, man. They were just. Some of that stuff was so. Even that disco stuff, man. Those were real drummers playing real drums.
It's true. Till our drum machine era.
Yeah, and that just kind of blew everything out of the water. It's like, you don't have to learn how to play anymore. You just program it, plug that in, and push play, and okay, go. It lost all the organicness and beauty of it. But yeah, PYT, and it was weird, man. I was jumping on a plane as a matter of fact to fly here from LA. And it was the last song coming off, and it was on shuffle. I was like, man, I haven't heard that song.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I got to go back and revisit that record because that was one of the records that formed my music going back. As well, why wouldn't it was Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast.
Yeah, that's true.
So the contrast was amazing, but
it's a great answer. Yeah, because usually there's such a mix. It's always interesting to hear what a musician listens to and then often gets inspired by. So fans love hearing that. Well, thanks, Xavier. Appreciate the time today.
My pleasure.
Looking forward to the rest of the tour. The set tonight is going to be badass.
Yes.
So we'll be checking out Buckcherry later on throughout the evening here. And thanks again. So in the now, Xavier Buckcherry. Peace.